Hi.
Welcome, everybody, to Off the Record B-Side. This is the flip side of what we normally do on Off the Record, but it's the other way around. So if you like had a pancake and then you were cooking it and then you turn it the other way and then you cook that side, cooking on the other side today. So welcome.
So this week on Off the Record B-Side, we're going to go way back, way back. And we're going to be looking at our favorite crooner big band artists. So we're going to be looking at our top 10 favorite songs, the ultimate song of a generation, and the ultimate artist of a generation.
Wow. So, as usual, we have our top 10 lists that we have sent to each other, but we don't know the order that everybody else's is in. And we like having fun trying to guess. And we also don't know the song or the performer of the generation.
So before we start with our top 10, remember, Nikki and I have very different opinions in music, no matter what the decade, except this decade. We have a lot of similarities, but we certainly have our favorites as well.
It's so true. And in this one, we're both big fans of the type of music. So there's a lot of crossover this time, like crisscross, massy cross, but we still have our favorites.
And so remember, we are dealing with the years from 1930 to 1969. So let's get started with our top 10 crooner big band list. And Nikki, what is your number 10?
Okay, and I have to preface this by saying I liked a lot of them. This was really hard to pick the order. Anyway, my number 10, which is the last one on my list of my favorites, is by someone called Tony Bennett. In 1961, he's from New York, Long Island, and it's from his album I Left My Heart in San Francisco, and it's The Best Is Yet to Come. And I love this song because it's kind of sassy and it's got this real, like, jazzy, like, the best is yet to come. I love that, like, kind of swing. It's super swing. I noticed a lot of my favorites are super swingy. And one is no different. And I also love the trumpet and the sax in this. Like, the big band in this is amazing to me.
So my number 10 is from 1934, and it's Al Boley, and it is the song Midnight, the Stars, and You. Okay. Now, this is my oldest one I picked. It was 1934. This is kind of a weird discovery for me because I knew the song. I just hadn't heard it in a long time. And I always get this eerie sense when I listen to it, even though it's kind of a happy love song. And then I realize as I'm searching it out, it's from The Shining, and it's the ending of The Shining. And I'm like, oh, that's why it sort of stuck with me as this sort of a little bit sinister. It's not really, but they made it that way. This guy, Al Boley, was the biggest star in Europe in the 30s. And he had, I think, over 1,000 songs he had recorded, but this was his most famous, as well as Goodnight, Sweetheart. But I don't know, this song just, I don't know, takes me way back. Not that I've ever been that far back, but it just feels really that era. And it's probably because of The Shining, I'm sure. But I think that's a really cool song.
That's really, all right. So this one is not, I mean, she's a crooner. As far as women, we're crooners, but we did really also include, sort of jazz, blues style. Women weren't really crooners, but I guess they were in some way. We just didn't call them that.
In some ways.
Yeah. Anyway, so I love this song. It is for sure a protest song. And it was from 1947, and it's called Strange Fruit. It was about the hangings in the South. And so, like, some of the lines are like blood on the leaves and blood at the root, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Like, anyway, I kind of love the song. It's so hauntingly beautiful. And I love this, of course. So it's filled with good things for me.
My number 9 is by Frank Sinatra, and it is The Best Is Yet to Come. So again, we're back at that song. It's a great song from that era. But this was probably my favorite of all of his songs. I like the beginning of the piano. It just really feels of that era. I love the slinking jazz and the positive, happy vibe in it. And it's just a really cool song.
Okay, my number 8 is from 1957, and it's Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald. And it's by George Gershwin was the songwriter, and it's called Summertime. And I love this song. And everybody, of course, must know this song because it's wickedly great. And I love it. And she's so great. And he's so great. And together, they're just amazing. They did a lot of stuff together, actually.
My number 8 is from 1960, and it's Julie London with a song called Black Coffee. I love Julie London. I've probably been a fan of her since 15 years ago. This song, it's so cool. It's so sleazy and sexy. And what's the one line? And drown her past regrets in coffee and cigarettes. I love that line.
Yeah.
Cool
And it
song.
did feel like that. The whole song really felt like I liked it. I was actually glad I listened to that. I would not listen to her a lot, I don't think, but I loved that song too. I thought it was really cool and very sexy, I said.
Very sexy. A little sleazy sexy, right?
7. Number 7. My number 7 was from 1960, and it's another woman. And I realized I like a lot of women, even though I like a lot of the men crooners too, but I really like a lot of the women blues singers,
Yep.
And this was with the Riley Hampton Orchestra, and it's Etta James, and it's At Last.
Great song.
As my love is gone. Like I could totally buy into every second of that song. I love her voice. I love the orchestra in this. I realized a lot of the stuff I love is almost orchestral. Like I do like the crooning and the blues and the jazz, but I also really love classical music. So a lot of the not as much the big band swinging, but like there's definitely in some of my choices, there's definitely some orchestra.
My number 7 is from 1948, and it's Dean Martin, and it's Powder Your Face with Sunshine. I've always loved that song. Probably it's been used in commercials or something, but he was known as the King of Cool, and it really feels like that. But I love the building and the interlude, how it sort of stays kind of level, and then this crazy short saxophone solo comes in just to pump you up a bit before it begins. But I love Dean Martin, and that's one of my favorites for sure.
Numero 6 pour moi is Love by Nat King Cole, and it was written in 1964. But anyway, I love this one because Nat King Cole has a real way of like, L is for the way you look at me. Like it's really like, it is pretty swinging, this song. I love the swinginess of it. It's not like, there's so many ballads. This is one of the not ballads that I love.
So my number 6 is from 1937, and it is Gene Krupa with a song called Sing, Sing, Sing. And I believe Benny Goodman's doing the orchestration as well in this, but Gene Krupa was a famous drummer, probably the first big famous drummer who was also an arranger and an orchestra leader, but really the drums dominated, and that never had happened before. And I think there was Buddy Rich as well. But this song, I love it. The drums sound really tribal, and the horns are all over the place, like crazy horns. It's about the jitterbug and the Lindy Hop and the Harlem Shuffle. Like those were when you see those dance videos from that time, that's the song they're always playing. And you can see why.
So I had never heard that song before, so I listened and watched the video, and I loved it actually. And so, you had asked me if there was something that you had that I really changed my mind about. It's that one for me. I loved it. I think his drums are crazy. So crazy.
But it's very tribal, eh? Like
bass, and I love that too. And like that was great. That was great. Sing, Sing, Sing was great and unexpected.
Okay.
So my number 5 was from 1959, and it's by someone called Bobby Darin, and it's Beyond the Sea. And I thought this, you love it. Yeah, I love it. Who doesn't love it? And, originally this was going to be like my number 2, but I really started finding other ones that I liked more, but I do like him. I don't think he has as great a voice as Frank. That's for me, but I love this Somewhere Beyond the Sea. It makes you sort of dream about somewhere else, and I kind of liked it. It's really off in another land,
My number 5 is from 1959, and it is Nina Simone with My Baby Just Cares for Me. I love the piano solo in this. The song just seems so cool and laid back. And I like that she brings up all the names, the big celebrities of the time, like Lana Turner and Liberace. It's a real song of the times. And I think it was another thing when I was a kid, a Chanel No. 5 commercial where
Was
they would
it?
play this and the diamonds would pull up and the big limousines and everyone. Yeah, I think it always associated with like success. And I think that's why I've always loved that song. But Nina Simone, like totally into Nina Simone because of this little thing we're doing here.
Okay. Number 4 on my list from 1965 is Nina Simone, and it's Feeling Good.
Yeah.
And I love this song. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it, but it was from this 1964 musical, The Roar of the Grease Paint. So, and it really has that feel of, and I'm feeling good. Da-na, da-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Like, I love that whole, it really feels like you're in a musical. And you were, so that's kind of cool.
I love the vocal she does at the very end of that song.
You do?
It makes it so not poppy or radio friendly. It's such a crazy thing she does at the end with her vocal. It's just awesome.
I wrote down that I love the vocals and the piano in this song.
Cheers. That drink is so fitting right now because my number 4 is from 1965 and it's Dean Martin with a song called I Will. So I like the whole kind of calypso drums that go on in it, the weird, almost munchkin-y backing vocals that he's got going on behind him. And he's really sexy, sultry with the voice, like just so close to the mic. And this is just an awesome song. I still think this is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Number 3, and everybody did it, but I chose this version. It's from 1960, live in Berlin, and it's Ella Fitzgerald doing Mac the Knife. And I freaking love this version. It's so different than all the rest. And so she worked with the Paul Smith Quartet, and Paul Smith was her guy all the way through from the beginning to the end. That was her guy. And he played the piano. And like even in this song, everybody did it, and then they're like, let's get a woman to try it. So they got Ella to try it. And she just like doesn't know all the words. She's doing it live. She just says at one point, she goes, what's the next chorus to this song now? That's one of the things she sings. What's the next chorus to this song now? And then, but I think a lot of what it was that she got the essence of it, the vibe of Mac the Knife. Everybody knew it. And then she just like, she does scat at the end, but her scatting is like nobody else is scatting. It doesn't even matter what she was singing. Her voice is the instrument here. The song everybody knows. So she could just say whatever she wanted to say.
My number 3 is from 1962, and it is Mel Torme with Comin' Home Baby. I love Mel Torme. Mel Torme is my favorite male singer of all time for sure. I love all of his stuff. I'm obsessed with Mel Torme. So this whole thing we're doing, I was kind of realizing I really like Mel Torme. The other stuff I like little bits and stuff, but Mel Torme is my guy. Yeah. I like this song. I think this is the coolest Mel Torme song. I like how the backing vocals lead him into the next line as opposed to the other way around. They're not supporting him, he's supporting them. I just think it's a really cool song, groovy, fun. And one of the things you're talking about, artists that don't write songs, Mel Torme was a songwriter. Didn't necessarily write all the songs he sang, obviously, but his most famous one is the Christmas song, Chestnuts Roasting by an Open Fire. That's his song. So he wrote for Judy Garland and he wrote for lots of people back then. Then he's like, you know what? I should just do this on my own. He's more swingy fun, Mel Torme. He's like cool cat guy.
He's fun and cool, that's for sure. I was actually talking to someone just before I came to do the show, and they were like, oh, that's cool, Crooner. So Mel Torme. And I was like, that's who it is to you? And they were like, yep. And I'm like, oh, not for me.
Yeah, he's more jazzy swing than croonery, because Mel Torme could really sing. Mm-hmm. He's a great singer.
My number 2 from 1964 is Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra with Count Basie and his orchestra.
Awesome.
Yeah, I could have picked a lot of songs, but I actually love how this album with Count Basie and Sinatra was amazing. I love the flute. I love the big band. I don't think anybody sings better than Frank, Old Blue Eyes. I mean, this is just swing at its best, you know? So Fly Me to the Moon. That's what it is for me.
Great song. My number two is from 1960, and it is Bobby Darin with Beyond the Sea.
Okay.
So I won't say a lot about Bobby Darin, but that is a great song.
Yeah.
But the song, I love locations in songs, and this one takes me to my Grand Bend beach. It's one of my, songs I bring to the beach with me because it's so cool to walk down the beach listening to this song.
Yeah.
So yeah, timeless, one of my favorite songs.
Beauty.
Now it's time for our Crooner Big Band number one. So drum roll, please.
Ding dong.
Nikki, what is your number one Crooner Big Band song? Although I know what it is. Go ahead.
So my number one is from 1966, which is also the year I was born, because that's how freaking old I am. And it's Sinatra and Summer Wind. And I love this song. Oh, it's Strangers in the Night album. Nelson Riddle was conductor and piano. I love the strings. I love the orchestralness of this song.
I got to say, too, that's a great song. That was my favorite song on your top 10 list. And that's the song I guessed is your number one. Only because I knew you love Frank Sinatra, obviously. And I just thought that was kind of someone who really loves Frank Sinatra might not like the obvious choice, but that's a cool choice. Summer Wind's a great song.
I love it.
My number one is from 1962, and it is Mel Torme with On Green Dolphin Street. This is a song I discovered because I love Mel Torme. I went through his whole catalog. This was the song that I've always loved from Mel Torme. It's from a movie of the same name, but he re-recorded it, as they all do back then. I really like this song because it takes me to a location. It just feels like one of those songs that, you have a moment somewhere, some location, and every time you hear the song, it brings you back to that moment. I like how the horns are kind of crazy, and he's kind of singing very smoothly over top of it till the very end where he goes as crazy as the horns. So that's my favorite. Love that song. Love Mel Torme.
Okay, we want to talk about what we think might be the ultimate big band crooner song for this generation. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite, just what you think is the ultimate. So, Bill, why don't you start us off?
So as I was going through all this stuff and watching documentaries and reading, there was a Bing Crosby song that came up called Out of Nowhere, which I'd never heard. It was a number one hit for him. It was a big hit for him, but way back when, I think 1931. And it was the first song where someone actually used a studio mic. And so his voice was clear, and it was quiet, and it was vibrato, and everyone seemed to base themselves around that Bing Crosby style of singing, because he was kind of the first to make it a big hit. Like, he was the first one to take the mic and go, I'm going to be really quiet and sing like this. Because they used to sing like, in these megaphones, and they had no way of recording it properly. I wanted to say that song, but I'm just discovering that, so I can't really say it. So I would have to say Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra. That is the song that everyone brings everyone right back there. It's a great song. Hundreds of versions of that song, but he's the best by far.
I almost considered that for my top song. But I think it's also a Frank Sinatra song from 1969, My Way.
Yeah.
And it was 75 weeks on the top 40 singles chart in the UK.
Wow.
75 weeks. That's like over a year.
Wow. Oh my God.
I mean, I like the lyrics for What is a Man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not. The record shows I took the blows. I did it my way. Like, it's a real, power, there's real power in it. I love it. He really did it his way. Like, he did. So it was for him and written for him, and then he sang it, and I just think it represents the generation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Cheers! So now we're going to get to the ultimate number one big band, crooner, jazzy artist of that era. So Nikki, tell us, please, who your favorite person is.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure it's Frank Sinatra. Just always has been.
Who?
Look, I think he started the concept album. Like he would have a concept album in the wee small hours, right? Or just everything, songs for swinging lovers. Nobody really did albums like that before. They did singles. Well,
Yep.
he made it like here's the concept of the whole album together. So, Old Blue Eyes, he was in the Rat Pack. They nicknamed him Chairman of the Board. My top guy is Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
So my top guy, which I would imagine you think it was Mel Torme, it's not. For this kind of music, this kind of style, I picked Dean Martin. I've always loved Dean Martin. I just think his voice lends itself to that more than anybody. He's cool, he's partying, he's part of the Rat Pack, and then, his whole career. Not that I think he's the greatest in the world or anything.
Yeah.
I did really like his voice, but he's got that sexy, cool quality to his voice that I don't think a lot of them have. They're nice singers, but he's got that quality. So he's my top crooner.
I mean,
for
I
sure.
think he's a great choice for the number 2. But I think he's also great. So how could you go? You can't go wrong with that,
Okay, so Nikki, you got any final thoughts on crooner big band era?
I loved this. This was a great episode for me. I love doing this. I do love this kind of music. Sometimes you can forget. You can get into other stuff and not come back to this. And then you come back to it and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed just, getting into more artists that I'd never really given a huge chance to. Because as I said, I've got my favorites. I like Mel Torme. I like Julie London. Those are my 2 favorites for sure. And Dean Martin. But I really got a new respect for Frank Sinatra, even though it's great, but I kind of like him more now than I did. And I enjoyed hearing a lot of the old big band stuff that I never gave a chance to really. I'd always hear it, but I was like, that's not my thing. So I found a couple of songs from that, which was kind of cool.
Also, I went to see Frank Sinatra at the Gardens with Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. I don't know if you remember this because I knew you then.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was doing My Way, and he had this square stage with a little screen on each side with the words. And he's so drunk, he kept saying the same joke. This is my friend Johnny and my friend Walker. He was so drunk. He was older. And then at one point he gets lost in My Way and he goes, back it up, back it up. So to put the words back on it. I think is crazy.
That's kind of one of the only performers you want to see kind of drunk while they're singing. It'd be awesome, be part of the atmosphere, right?
I can't believe I got to see him, actually. Yeah. I love him. So don't forget to like us, to subscribe to us, to tell us what you think, and then we'll do a show about it. All of those things together get you the ultimate fan button, which we'll have to put on the website.
Okay. That was a great show.
That was
Love listening to Crooner's Big Band. It was fun. It was
Thanks
good.
for coming and checking it out. And Bill, as usual, very nice.
Nice to see you too, as usual. So guys, till next time, it's Off the Record B-Side. We'll see you later.
Around.